We're talking about where is the clarity journey. I am understanding acidity a little bit more, how it can be extremely complex, that we don't have to like everything. Sometimes I wonder how much of a rabbit hole I've gone into, and I just got to keep going. I have to keep the drive and the hunger and the thoughts and the mysteries and all that stuff that we think about constantly. We live right now. And we're doing pretty good right now. I hope that you're doing pretty good right now. Yeah, this is another good old times, I think. So, what are we going to be talking about today? We're talking about where is the clarity journey. Thought that would be a good idea just to talk about where things are right now as they sit with me as I'm talking about coffee, my new little mini project, self-discovery that I'm going on. It's going fine. There's a lot of things that I've learned about coffees, of course. That's what little conquests or journeys or things that you do to kind of just do things differently as you go through your coffee journey. But I guess for me, the biggest thing is I think I'm going to be defining what clarity really is throughout this whole experiments or things that I'm doing. I know for sure I still don't care too much for light roast. I do understand them a lot more. I did a challenge, a 2-week challenge. It was difficult, but it was good because it gave me a sense of growth, understanding, and things that I am trying to understand more and more about coffee in general. But in this case, I would say in the developed enough light roasted coffees, Nordic type of European coffees, they are not sweet. They're not. I am going to roast it again, different ones, probably one or two, probably a little bit longer than the 30, 45 second of developmental time and see if I can get sweetness out of the coffees. And I think I will, and it'll still be a relatively light roast. So that will be an interesting thing that I'll do in the next couple of days or weeks or whatnot. I am understanding acidity a little bit more, how it can be extremely complex, meaning that, at least for me, it's hard to decipher exactly what I'm tasting, and it changes as I keep drinking it. And the flavors and all that stuff, they don't really change as much as a medium and a dark roast do when it comes to as the coffee cools and the complexity and it changes and all that good stuff. And you'll get a different coffee as it cools and all that good stuff. I think you understand what I'm talking about. Other people may disagree with me when I say that, but this is coming from my palate, which is perfectly fine. And I think that's the thing people have to realize is that more so, as much as we try to make things exact or definitive in coffee, it's not. It's more so my take on it. And I'm not saying that what I say is gospel, but I think there will be people who probably feel the same way as I do. And I'm just more so giving my opinion about what I'm actually tasting in a cup of coffee. I think the other thing is that we don't have to like coffees. Not all of them. I think back in late January, I had this Sumatran that I tried again, that I froze. And since I got new gear and all that good stuff and understanding coffee brewing even more so, I didn't really care for it before. And it was even more evident as I kept on drinking it and trying it that we don't have to like everything. And probably doing a couple recipes, not like 15, will let us know that if we don't like it, we don't like it. You know? And yeah, it's perfectly fine. Even if it's a cool coffee that everybody's loving and raving, you don't have to like it. I don't like all the coffees that I roast and sell and all that good stuff. So that's perfectly fine. And yeah, I understand now. It was probably more so in the beginning, but third wave water makes a big difference. It still does. It kind of puts you in a place to where this is probably what your coffee can taste like, what it can be. But something about it kind of gives me a perception of like, is there something better? I may try when I go to the SEA thingy in Houston in the next month to see if I can find either more third wave water or things like that in order to enhance my taste and my experience with coffee and how it will see if it makes it better, even more so. But again, it's one of those things to where it is a magical pill, but it's just part of the thing. It's part of the coffee chain. It's part of what makes coffee what it is sometimes. And it kind of sucks that, you have to do quite a bit to get just a little bit better than what you're tasting, I did experiment yesterday and it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it and I used the percolator and I really liked the percolator. But the thing about doing the percolator and this challenge of 3 different coffees and all that stuff is that I didn't want to waste my water just for a quick taste. So I used tap water. I haven't used tap water in a very long time in order to make a cup of coffee. And it was fine. It worked. I was curious to see how much better it was going to get with third wave water, but I didn't do that, and it's perfectly fine. Sometimes I wonder how much of a rabbit hole I've gone into. And since you are hopefully enjoying the video, if you like, subscribe. And if I'm just talking about shit that is just too kind of far out, right? Those are some of the things that I think about quite a bit when I do these things and put myself out there and try to understand that am I full of myself, or is this real? And I think about that constantly as I go through this whole thing. But yeah, just trying to do all this stuff to kind of see it for what it is and see if I can give you back something to where you can probably think about, ponder, probably even try, or just simply be entertained by a fool who's kind of just doing whatever he wants. So I do love medium roast. I do love dark roast. I do like a balance in a cup of coffee. I do like that a lot of times when I do drink coffee, I just like the journey and the story that it lets me go on every morning. I'm wondering about gadgets and how they play a part in everything, and how, for the most part, all we would need is a Hario V60. I think about that quite a bit. I think about if what I'm trying to do really matters. Yeah, I think about if I'm wasting my time, or if all this is just just gives me something to do before Amazon picks up, before something else I can think of that will take my time. But I don't know. It's weird. I look forward to this. I look forward to just talking and experimenting and understanding coffee even more so, and understanding people. I know I say this quite a bit to the point where I'm a misanthrope, or I don't really care for people. I do care for people. But I guess what I'm saying here right now is that it's cool to get different opinions than mine. It's cool to see what people care about and why they care about it. It's cool to see if people see it from my point of view, or if I can see it from their point of view. And I think the outlet of social media, podcasting, YouTube, writing, and all that good stuff gives me that point of view of, or that perspective of like, oh, I'm not alone here. I gotta keep going. And I think that's the biggest hurdle or thing that I kind of get at. especially when I have these times and moments to where I'm just talking and just thinking and just kind of going back of just understanding myself even more so, seeing if what I'm talking about is valid to the world, if that makes any sense. So yeah, clarity. All that was about clarity, right? I think so. So it's going and it's doing this thing and it's getting me to the point to where I understand that I just gotta keep going. I have to keep the drive and the hunger and the thoughts and the mysteries and all that stuff that we think about constantly as we think and go through this life together independently of each other. I think about how I can push myself even more so in understanding what clarity is. And I don't know or feel that I'll get that much more from it, especially when it comes to, I guess, gear acquisitions and using them. I truly think that now. I think my old fellow 2 grinder works great. It does what it needs to. It let me know in lighter roast that even as a pour over, I don't have to go down all the way down to the 1. I can go down to 4, which is kind of choking the system a little bit. It's making the roast a little bit longer, extracting a lot, but it's not creating any type of bitterness in a cup of coffee. I'm realizing that the standard burrs work really well, at least for now. I don't need to go down that rabbit hole of changing the burrs to the sweet burrs and all that good stuff, which is pretty cool. You know, you're just kind of just using your gear for what it is and understanding it even more so. I don't think going finer makes things better all the time. I think if you're able to go coarse and taste the essence and the deliciousness of a coffee, that's where you really want to be. But it's also letting me know that it's okay to go fine on the grind and see where it goes with that journey. I know another thing that I realized in this whole thing is that I'm a stubborn bastard. I am fixed in my ways. And what I mean by that is that I don't like to change things. I like to manipulate the situation now that I understand the parameters of brewing in my favor in order to get the cup of coffee that I want. So what I mean by that is that I have 2 hand grinders, a Kin Grinder K2, which I use for pour overs, and then I have a Kin Grinder K6, which I use for my espresso. I just found, to me, the perfect grind size. I don't know really what they are. It doesn't really matter, but they're not changed. Yes, I don't change the grind size. And the way that I manipulate the coffee is I either put more coffee in a vessel or I put more water, and that's it. And it works out pretty well that way. And it's one of those things to where I know most people will think like, why are you doing that? Because I want to. And I don't want to keep changing the grind size just because of the hell of it. And I'm stubborn that way just because I know that I can manipulate the coffees other ways in order to get the best out of it, because I'm just lazy and I'm just trying to be focused as much as I can when it comes to tasting what I taste. So yeah, I'm a stubborn bastard. I said it. I don't like changing things that it'll probably be a lot harder for me to actually get back to. And it's pretty cool, right? Think about it. You just kind of manipulate coffees in different ways that you have learned and tested and tried, and it works out the way that you didn't think that it was possible. And it's very much possible. So I don't know if it's just me being stubborn, lazy, like constraints, like challenges, but that's kind of like what I do, at least for those 2 grinders. And it's been working out pretty well. I don't know if I'm going to get a dedicated espresso grinder. The hand grinder does a really good job. I'm tasting coffee a little bit more, and I'll see how that really works as I go down that rabbit hole of seeing what coffee is in these different lights of day. Sometimes I just talk. So I want to get back to medium roast. I want to understand balance a little bit more. I want to start eating fruit in front of you and give you the reasons why that matters, because I think we can learn a lot from doing things in a way to where it does make sense to us. And yeah, this clarity thing it's going in a direction that it's going in. But it's interesting that now I am in a place of, I don't know really where it's going. I don't know if we're still talking about clarity. I wonder if I am just BSing and just wasting time, as I said earlier. But it's been fun. It's been cool. And when you give yourself like a random challenge or something that you care about, it's one of those things to where you're like, wait, this what makes it fun. This what spices it up. This what gives it this chance and the opportunity to have the legs of longevity, right? Of a real true journey. And we'll see what the next one is. But it's been a lot of fun. We'll just see how and where it goes. And I'm probably leaving a couple things off. But it's been a lot of fun. And there's things that I've already learned. And I'm looking forward to keep pushing myself and trying these coffees and understanding them and giving this information back to you so you can have a chance of probably more curiosity. Probably, I don't know if you feel the same way sometimes when you're talking about coffee and you want to be in a place to where, where you just want to try something new. You just want to see if that path is for you. But yeah, so this is a 2.5, 3 month talk about clarity, where it's going, what I've learned so far. And I hope that I continue to rediscover the unknowns. That makes any sense. Because it doesn't, because I don't know what I don't know and things that I did in the past that I realized that I've done, like the whole extraction and how you can beat the living crap out of light roast and not get much bitterness. It's just kind of crazy and far out there. I think you'll get a little bit bitterness a little bit as you roast it a little bit more. But that's when I think the sweetness will come. Yeah, so interesting stuff. We'll see how all of this goes and we'll talk more. But yeah, this is me, Okie at Everyday Beans, signing out. Talk to you later. Bye.